The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born is a 1968 classic novel from Ghanaian Kwei Armah about corruption in post-independence. It follows up on the life of a nameless man trapped in the disillusioning society of post-independent Ghana. It is historically set during the Passion Week from 1965 to February 25, 1966, during the day after the overthrowing of Ghana's first president, Kwei Nkrumah. It focuses on such strong subjects such as corruption, capitalism, poverty, masculinity, shame, guilt, materialism, worker exploitation, and by some small miracle, hope. The poor and unnamed protagonist works as a railway employee. One day refuses a bribe from a timberman at work who looks like a wolf. On his way home, he runs into his old classmate called Compson. Compson, who is now a wealthy but very corrupt minister in Kwei Nkrumah's new independent government. The man invites Compson to his house and promises to pay him a visit with his wife Estelle. When he returns home, he tells his wife Oyo about meeting Compson and informs her that he is coming to see them with his wife Estelle. His wife Oyo opens up on how she envies the lavish life of Compson's materialistic wife, Estelle. The man then tells his wife about the bribe, but to his surprise, Oyo is outraged by this revelation and slanders his values, as she believes he should have taken the bribe since, financially speaking, the family is struggling. The man carries guilt of letting his family down for the rest of the day, even though he has technically done the morally right thing and stuck to his principles and kept his integrity. At night, he sneaks out to meet his friend teacher, who he confides in, and talks about this guilt and shame over the bribe. The teacher understands his situation as well as his wife's reaction, but it appears to him corruption in Ghana is now more normal than abnormal, and it seems like now it is one of the very few ways to succeed as a man in Ghana. So, the teacher encourages the man to persevere, although the teacher himself has given up all hope. The next day, when the man goes to work, he encounters various forms of disgusting things, including excrement, feces, and vomit, as well as deforming and aggravating physical environment. A symbolism of the current post-independent root and moral decay of the Ghanaian nation under Kwei Nkrumah, even though the government hypocritically promised to clean up these streets. The man goes to buy expensive imported groceries for the dinner he hosts with Oyo for Compson and his wife Estelle. Even though the groceries are very expensive, the man feels a sense of pride to be able to buy something like that and get the envious looks of respect of the other people in the store. For once, he is satisfied with himself as a man. The man and Oyo wish to clean the house in preparation for their dinner party with Compson's family. So the nameless man takes his children to his mother-in-law's house so he can clean over the house. However, the man is met with ridicule and mockery from his mother-in-law because he cannot afford to be a man like Compson, who has money to adequately provide for his family. During the dinner, a man notices how much his old classmate Compson has climbed the financial and status ladder. He observes this and is now embarrassed by the financial gap between him and Compson. They try to accommodate their upper-class taste, but to an extent fail as Estelle refuses to drink the cheap local beer they brought for them. And when Compson wants to relieve himself, he refuses to use the man's pit latrine community toilet the man offers, since the man cannot afford an indoor plumbing. The man's mother-in-law eventually proposes a corrupt business scheme to Compson about a fishing boat. Compson clarifies that the fishing boat deal is not intended to benefit Oyo and the men's families. Compson only requires a signature from them to disguise his involvement in the corrupt money-making business. But in return, it is implied by Compson that he will still give Oyo, her mother, and the men a cut of the fish and money. Compson and Estelle return invitations to dinner for Oyo and the man to his estate to sign the contract papers for the fishing boat. The man again drops in a depressive state of shame and guilt upon noticing the material differences between the lives of his own children and those of Compson's daughter, Princess. but still decides not to sign the fishing boat contract, but Oyo signs the paperwork on behalf of her mother. For a while, they do receive packages of fish from the deal, but only briefly. It later turns out that trading with fishing boats does little change to their lives. One day, when the man leaves his job, he hears that there has been a national military coup and many ministers of the Kwame Nkrumah government have been arrested and are in protective custody. When he gets home, he finds Compton waiting for him for solace and assistance in escaping the soldiers, since he was one of the Kwame's ministers. Some men arrive at the house looking for Compson, but the man helps him escape by crawling through that community pit latrine toilet, which of course he had previously refused to use during their dinner earlier, which the man observes as a very ionic trade of fortune between him and Compson, which makes it clear on how government successions can radically alter the fortunes of the people in power. They find a man called Botsung, who takes them to a fishing boat that Oyo's signature helped bring about. Once out of port, the man prepares to dive into the bay. Compton tells him that they will meet again someday, but the man thinks this is ridiculous, and he leaves without having much care for Compton. He swims to shore and sleeps on the beach. When he wakes up, then makes his way home. Upon returning home, the men see a bus with writing on the side matching the title of the book, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, along with a beautiful flower illustration standing next to it. You can feel the ephemeral hope of posterity, but remembering the daily drudgery he still has to return to, he staggers and makes his way home more slowly.
If you have an African novel you want to see Dudu summarize, do not hesitate to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more original, great Afrocentric content like this. Thanks for watching Mimsy Dudu Summaries.